Hi everyone. Alright, welcome to this space if you're new here, and welcome back if you're returning. A few little things before we jump in. Firstly, it's been a while since we started doing this, right? Since it happened, it all started, I guess. And I'm just so grateful that it did. And it hasn't always been easy from then until now. Even in the now, there are things that are happening that can cause one to have to step up, right? Or handle it. And so I just want to thank you for being here. I want to thank those that have come and gone, and I guess this time, and presently speaking especially, it's important that we feel together, that we feel connected and supported and love one another, right? And speak with kindness and speak from our hearts, really. So, thank you for being here, and I hope this reading is of service for you. Okay, one other thing before we jump in, intuitively, I guess, and look at all the cards is, I did see that, and I know this won't be for all, but any of you who ever taken psychedelics, that could be something like a lesson that was learned in a space that came from what you took in. Could be being highlighted. It's like you had an experience a long time ago, right? And or in the past. And some of you, this could also be happening presently, but mostly I see there's something where it's like an experience was had, and things were taken in, but it's almost like, what does it all mean? Seems to come up. Like, it's like it blossoms, and then it releases the answer. It's almost like, oh my God, that's what that meant. That's what that meant. And it actually will come, it could even come in this present moment for some of you very quickly. It's almost like you, but I suppose you want to pay attention to where this awareness is. Like, is it a mental awareness, like, aha, or is it an emotional acceptance? Because emotional understanding always comes a bit later, right? Because we almost have to change the thinking as we go along. Okay, so we made a pyramid versus a block. So there's a rearrangement of something, but really all that's happening is you take one piece out, and when you do, it makes a different shape, right? You can start to move things around and find this. You actually want some space in between. Let's see what you need. Yes, there needs to be space in between. I would say, let's see, good self-care right now. Could be floating in water. It could be taking a bath. It could be, I also see that's a means of emotionally finding this emotional awareness or acceptance. Also comes from being in water some way, somehow. Oops. Excuse me. Have you ever been tripping by the water too? There's something like that. Ever tripped by the water? What will come towards you after there's this space? Oh, interesting. Taurus and Pisces has a healing property. What are we talking about? Something that was dry and cold, even kind of melancholic, very fixed in its a stubborn place, becomes warm and wet. It's like it becomes more movable, right? Whatever's, again, cold and dry, it's like a rock. I feel like someone else talked about this, like the squeezing water out of the rock. You know what I mean? Squeezing liquid, creating something soft out of something really hard. But that comes from being really vulnerable and being comfortable in letting go. Finding comfort in the surrender. There is some kind of psychedelic experience, though, happening. It's in the heart, too. Okay. Okay, so we all have there's good trips and there's bad trips, right? Good trips always is a big word. Usually, there are more good trips than there are bad trips, right? So I guess you want to look at the positive, but when it comes to a journey or a trip, whatever, you want to make sure that you are in a good place, because then you go to these other, you go up from wherever you are. When it's, right, it becomes lighter. If you're low and you're trying to feel high, again, it's only going to bring you up to the power of that which you're taking in. So you want to make sure you're in a good space. You know, you want to make sure that your environment is comfortable. Because I guess all a bad trip really is when one doesn't feel comfortable. Right? That's what one would consider. I'm seeing like one doesn't understand. So we think, so then the word, there's a natural tendency to not make something good when it's not understood. It reminds me of a poem I wrote a long time ago. If the understanding is understood, then who would be overstanding? Let's see who's overstanding at the top. Whoa. Okay. So sand becomes glass. Something, again, dry, something sharp becomes soft. Something dry becomes like there's water in it. Then it softens again. It's like, it's almost like polishing all the edges. You know what I mean? Trying to take that which, dear Lord. I feel clumsy right now. Try to watch erratic, like, because how to find part of the answer is a centering of something. It's almost like, okay, so there's this triangle that we're making right now, and we've made this shape in this space before, but it's usually a triangle in the base, the widest point mirrors a triangle, but this is the opposite. It's like there's a triangle like upright, but then there's an inverted triangle within a top of it or within it that is so we're making 6 points, right? So again, something low becomes high. Okay. And try to be as balanced with those movements we were talking about. Try to be conscious of your movements and the balance of them. Okay? If you're going to be doing something over here, make sure you're doing something over there. And a kind of an equal, as much as possible, like an equal amount of it. Because I guess this will also help the centering energy. Just a minute. I keep seeing glass and fire. Glass and fire. If the fire isn't too hot, you can make some really interesting shapes out of that, right? If it gets too hot, it'll just become a puddle and then end up being flat, right? But if you add just the right amount of heat and then you stop stoking the fire, right? You just allow it to sort of come back down naturally. You know, don't just dump water on it so that it, you know, like completely changes the dynamic too fast. It's like creating something, letting that build, and then letting it come back down. Not too big, right? Just enough to change the shape of it. Then again, it doesn't shatter. If it changes too quickly, it shatters. Now, I suppose one could put this back together by again then you have to you have to find the form though, right? You have to be more technical then and be like, okay, I'm going to take all these little pieces that just blew apart from one another because they are, and make something out of that, but that's where you have to add more fire. And you can't really leave that process when it happens. You have to stay there so that you can tend the fire correctly so that it actually can, because it has to become a liquid then. It can't just soften. It has to become a liquid. Then from there, you can make it whatever you want. So I guess at times, shattering is actually it brings more creation by breaking it down in all these little pieces. Interesting. Let's see. Ah, yes, yes, yes. Ma Durga is October, right? Ma Durga takes away the evil of the world. I believe she gets a tool from all these different because of hard work, because of almost like proving oneself, right? Like, yes, I'm ready, enough experience, etc., the right intention behind it, then tools are gained, right? You have all these different tools that you can use, and all of those tools are necessary. You have to gather all of them to be able to put them again together to make the heart feel loved. Like for the heart to know that it's loved. It's like safe and loved and protected. Let's read this one. I'm curious. One card ended up in the reverse. I didn't even know it was like that. But I want to see what this is. Oh, it looks back down at transformation. Okay. So there's a message here of an indication of a very fine, right, fiend, a very fine level of self-development. Just a minute. Once that is realized, then the responsibility is understood in like a broader way, right? Responsibility. I love this word. The response to your ability, the response to others' abilities, right? Being earthbound can be complicated. This is why people try to go to other places, right? Find other means. But remember also that anything that you can find in a fast way, sometimes that can be scary, right? Because sometimes we're not ready. Maybe that's what feels like a bad trip, right? But it's not, though. It's not a bad trip. It's a good trip. It's, again, it's some kind of great awareness here. It's like some kind of cleansing. I see someone cleaning the countertop so they can cook, you know? I guess this could also be an emotional awareness of like the really clear, it's like, okay, this is this and that's that. And they're close. There's a line there. You can see that right next to one another. Okay, this is happening, that's happening. And I guess the question is the thing that's this makes that happen. This word trip is really big here. Maybe some of you are going on a journey. It just seems like a journey to me. It has a lot of levels to it also. So you want to try to find your Zen, you know. That's important, to find your Zen. Okay. Like, maybe even your bubble of protection in this time. Like, okay, I'm going to interact with this, but I make sure the intention is really clear. And try to be a little bit more patient with that. Because it takes a long time to make a pearl. Do you know what I mean? Well, thank you very much. That feels right to me. I'm starting to get really hot, so I hope this was of service. Thank you so much for walking together. And I wish you the best now, wherever you're going on this trip. Remember, positive too. Be positive, right? There's always challenges in life, no matter how awesome life is. The awareness of positivity and all that. So just remember to pray also. There's support above, you know, and you are protected here. But you're in charge of your protection here. And if you need extra from above. Does this make sense? Just ask for it. You'll get what you need. Love you so much. Peace.